I guess today is a very cool day because we are going to be discovering a process, and hopefully it will help you, and hopefully it will give you some insight into what's happening all over the world or in our little community here on the internet. And today we're going to be speaking about mastering the art of interior sketch-like renders. And I'm super excited. I'm going to be introducing Brigita in a few minutes. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be introducing her. We're just going to speak about the foundations of the process. And we're going to be talking about the whole idea of why we are using this method, why this technique works. I'll just tell you quickly about me. We're going to go quickly through the process. I'm a commercial architect. I've been in commercial practices for 25 years. I needed methods that helped me become an entrepreneur in my own right without having to work for a big company. And I also needed ways to work quickly. And this whole process evolved out of that necessity to work quickly and to still create amazing work. And really, you know, if you take a look at what Norman Foster says, Sir Norman Foster, if you've just joined us, we've just begun. But if you take a look at what Norman Foster says, he says that the pencil and computer are, if left to their own devices, equally dumb and only good as the person driving them. What does that mean for us as designers? It means that the computer is a tool, just like the ruler, set square, and the drawing board. Everything is just a set of tools, but the computer's power at this moment in time gives us leverage of geometry, using ArchiCAD, using Revit, using Vectorworks, we're using Master Architect, and then we have all the render softwares. So the computer is a tool, and never to forget that. And there will be no exception with artificial intelligence, because you'll still need to use what's happening in the world of AI as a tool. It may do a lot of things, but so does D5 Render, and so does SketchUp, and so does a lot of things, do things already that you can really create cool stuff. So this workshop, really, we've got over 100 people in the training right now, is for design architects, it's for building designers, it's for interior designers if you're an interior designer, an urban designer if you like designing big urban landscapes, for landscape architects and students of architecture, and especially if you're using softwares like Revit, ArchiCAD, SketchUp, Allplan, Vectorworks, Chief Architect, those type of softwares. This workshop is for you. And the reason for that is this. What you'll gain out of it is you'll learn how to avoid photorealism. Why do I say that? Is that photorealism is something that can get complex and can be very hard to put together. And not only that, it allows the focus to be on textures and materials instead of the actual design. So it can actually give you an easier method during the design conversation to show your clients 3D ideas and really beautiful ideas quickly, but not using AI, using the human mind, the human intellect. And yes, it will stimulate the design payment of fees. If you create beautiful imagery this way, you will create huge rapport with your clients, and you'll be able to get them to pay you a bit quicker to feel the design process, which is after all what architects do. We will reduce pre-deadline stress. So if you love stressing before deadlines, like most architects do, most interior designers do, then you're going to find that you can reduce 95% of the stress if you're preparing stuff for your meeting, three-dimensional stuff. Then you'll be able to avoid that. You'll also avoid the overwhelming tech challenges that so many people face. You know, obviously tech can really overwhelm us. It doesn't matter what you're using. There's always that glitch. There's always that bottleneck with tech. So you want to find a method that's super easy to use and doesn't kind of get you into a corner where you're struggling to get out of that corner. You're all twisted in knots because of the tech. There are easier ways to enhance your portfolio. A design portfolio is the most powerful asset that an architect or a designer or interior designer, building designer can have. And so you also need easier ways to recreate your portfolio, make it look amazing. So this is for you, this particular workshop, webinar, masterclass. If you want to retain full 3D design authority over your presentations, then absolutely this is a place you want to be tonight. Because a lot of architects, a lot of designers, they pan their work off to students that are visualization experts, and they lose control of the best parts of their process. So it's going to help you regain that design authority. We taught as architects that we need to work through the night. Very, very wrong attitude to have. You know, you do not have to work through the night. You do not have to return home at 3 o'clock in the morning with red eyes. That is something you do not have to do. You can absolutely expedite this process and make it a lot easier. Obviously, the reason I got involved in this process from the beginning was to go home and spend time with my family. There you can see my family at the top. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. Obviously, we want better free time with our friends, our family, our loved ones. You know, more time to go out and experience the lake nearby or the mountains or whatever you're going to end up doing, hiking. So what is the problem? The problem is in the 40s, you know, we all started off with drawing boards. Obviously, I wasn't alive yet, and maybe my parents were not alive either. But let's say pre-World War II, there was this amazing innovation of the drawing board as such, and people used to draft on that. And then obviously it evolved in the 90s to a more sophisticated drawing board, and CAD came onto the scene. And then in the 2000s, we started getting into using computers. People started introducing dual screens. And then what happened in 2000 and onwards is that there were a lot of softwares that were ushered into the world. Lots of tools, more tools, so many tools that people became confused by those tools, and more software tools like ArchiCAD, Revit, Vectorworks, Master Architect, Allplan. And then on the render side, almost 20 to 30 software. So it became a world that which tools do I choose, you know, so that became a big problem. And then obviously right now we're entering a new phase, you know, where the Oculus and the three-dimensional process is taking over, and it also is very complex. So this is the problem that most designers fall into. We've got 134 people, 135 people in the group right now. They fall into this problem, which is really overwhelmed. And what do I mean by that? Let's say you decide to use a sophisticated photorealistic software and you want to get something nice out. It doesn't matter if it's AI or if it's a render software, whatever. There's going to be a lot of bells and whistles to that, you know, a lot of sliders, a lot of things. It's like sitting in the cockpit of a 747 and not knowing which buttons do what, you know, not knowing how to slide this button so there's a contrast, not knowing how to work with textures. And so most architects are faced with this dilemma with software, that there's just too many nuances within the software. And really, like, this is the stuff that's produced. This is from the Chaos Group. This is off their website. I've referenced the Chaos Group website. This is mind-blowing render imagery from the Chaos Group. And this is what professional visualization artists managed to do by using like V-Ray. This is another image by V-Ray. It's not a photograph. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Here's another one. It's absolutely fantastic. And the crazy thing is, why is it so good? And the reason for that is that you need to be a genius. We know who all the geniuses are in the world. I'll just give you an example of a couple of them. The top left-hand side, obviously not an architect, but that is Mozart. So Mozart was a genius when it came to music. But then you have the other characters that feature in our field. You know, in architecture, you have Louis Cornier, you have Le Corbusier, you have Antonio Gaudi, Frank Lloyd Wright. These guys were completely like on a different level when it comes to design. And these guys were extremely sophisticated when it came to what they were doing and what they were producing. So you need to be really good at what you're doing to produce stuff like this. And not everyone has the time for that. We are designers and we need to focus on design, and we need a really amazing way to produce three-dimensional imagery that helps us communicate with our clients, helps us connect with our clients on a deeper level. And these type of images, as amazing as they are really good for final imagery, but they're not extremely efficient or easy on resources when you're producing them for the design conversation that you're having with your clients. So there are two phases in the design process. It doesn't matter which design faculty you're in. The first process is the quick way of communicating with your clients, an easier way of communicating your 3D ideas with your clients. And then there is the photorealistic stuff like this, which you'd obviously possibly at the end of the process introduce, before you construct the building. Here we go. I've been fortunate enough to teach over 300 people in the last couple of years. We have the most amazing design community. And design community is a very interesting thing because at university or at college or at design school, you need feedback to grow. And so we've helped many, many people transform the way they work. And I just want to show you quickly that this process is really about this, right? Maybe you're using these softwares, ArchiCAD, Revit, Chief Architect. They're just an example of the softwares that you might be using. And then most of the time, people decide that they're going to render. But what we're going to suggest tonight is that if you use SketchUp and Photoshop as an add-on to the process that you already use, I'm not saying take what you're doing right now and throw it away. I'm saying add these two softwares onto what you're doing. You probably won't ever need to use any other softwares because we're going to show you mind-blowing stuff tonight, and we're going to show you how it kind of has come into being. So what are we talking about tonight is the handcrafted image. The handcrafted image is an exceptionally powerful image. Why? Because it looks handcrafted. We've got 146 people watching this right now, and it's so subtle, but it's so obvious. Handcrafted images get your clients very excited. And photorealistic renders are fantastic, but they focus in on textures and materials, which can mislead your client to thinking about textures and materials instead of looking at the design process. So what we're saying is focus on the design process. This is exactly what the design process I've invented for myself looks like. And I'm going to show you that obviously every time you meet with a client would be one of these orange circles. And these orange circles represent the meetings you may have on a weekly basis. Maybe it's 4 meetings, so there'd be 4 orange circles. And these circles represent the time where you go into the boardroom, you put your work on the table. Maybe it's a coffee shop, maybe it's a boardroom, I'm not sure where you meet your clients, or maybe it's just Zoom, I'm not quite sure. But every time you meet with your clients, you're going to have plans, elevations, and sections. And then normally for designers, we accompany that with sketches, and those sketches sometimes are quick sketches. So what we are saying is that it's better to meet with your client with fast sketches in the beginning, but sketches that are really powerful, not sketches that are like sort of average. They're not exports from the software that you're using. We say really powerful stuff that blows them away. And then at the end of the process, if you feel that you need a render done because you've locked in the design, then you can do a photorealistic render. So I'm super, super, super excited to introduce Brigita tonight. She has been part of the Artful render for about 6 months. She is an interior architect. You can see Brigita at the top of the screen. If you can see there, we are 150 people right now. Brigita's in the United Kingdom. She's originally from Austria. A little bit of an Austrian accent. So she said to me tonight that she's going to slow down a little bit when she speaks. And just welcome to you. I'm super excited to have you in the group. You've been creating some mind-blowing work in the community. And I'm just really excited to introduce you to everyone because you have so much to share. You've come up with so many amazing ideas. According to the Artful sketch-like render process is the process that we're going to be speaking about. And that process I'm going to introduce you to right now involves SketchUp and Photoshop. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, what you can actually do with it. Welcome, Brigita. Tell us a little bit more about you. I guess we can just focus on you. Let me stop the share so we can see you there.
Yes.
Can we hear you?
Yes, I guess so. I mean, yeah.
Go for it.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about
you again. I'm very excited to be here, so I hope my accent is not too bad. Well, yes, I've been a designer for 30 years. And until last year, I was doing photorealistic all the time. I was quite good at it. I was also using AI. But I felt like something is missing because everybody is doing photorealistic. So I was looking for something new. And yeah, the Artful render came along, and that's really what I needed, because now I have something really special which I can show to my clients. And it's because I could feel my clients were like, yes, okay, it's a beautiful render, but we have seen that before. And now with Artful render, or what I experience with my clients is there's an emotional bond now, because for them it's like, wow, you did this for us, and it's nearly like handcrafted. So it's like nearly 50-50. It's the designs I'm doing, but it's also the personal engagement has increased 10 times, really, and their appreciation for my work. And on top, I'm actually faster than before, but I don't know that.
Tell us more about that. So you're working a lot faster than you used to work doing photorealistic stuff, and you're super quick at photorealistic imagery too. Tell us more about the speed that you're working. And I mean, sometimes I'm seeing 3 to 4 projects a day, and I'm like, oh my goodness me, how quickly are you working?
Yes, because the beauty with this method is, so when I did photorealistic and something was wrong, you had to rerender the whole project. Oh, your shadows weren't right. Now with your method, I just do everything in Photoshop, and let's say a color is wrong, a texture is wrong, I can change that within a minute in Photoshop. And
well, why don't we do this? Why don't I share some of your imagery, and we're going to showcase the work that she's been doing right now, simply just to show you the potential and the power if you are into doing interiors. So we're going to do that first. At the end, right at the end of the session, we're going to show you some more student work right at the end. But absolutely very excited about what Brigita's busy doing. And she will also be sharing these methods with us in the future within our online training in our community. So she is obviously a mentor in our group, becoming a mentor in our group. And we're going to be showing you what she is going to be teaching everyone as well. So let's just jump into the share. I'm going to share my screen. If anyone has a problem seeing anything, just shout out to me right now. Can everyone see the screen with Photoshop and SketchUp on?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's jump in here. I'm going to just drag some images off here onto the screen. So we're going to start here today, and we're going to have a sort of informal conversation with Brigita, and we're going to speak to her about her process. And so this is the type of image. We're going to go through a whole bunch of her images so you can see the quality. This is a render that takes about 25 to 30 minutes, I think, Max. Would you say that, Brigita?
Yes. So if you're really, thorough and you use all the brushes I'm using, it's 30 minutes. If you want to do a really quick job, you can do it in 10 to 15 minutes.
That is super amazing. And what you'll notice, right, Brigita, tell us about the textures.
So the beauty of this method really is that everything you can see now is really done in Photoshop. Other than you prepare your model, I prepare my model in an external CAD program. I bring it into SketchUp. That's where I add all my entourage to make the project looking like a beautiful story. And then the rest happens really in Photoshop, where you have like a gazillion tools, if I can use that term, and you are really free to explore your own creativity. So I was learning the basics with Jason's method, and from there I went on to experiment and develop my own style, really. And I think that's also really important for us as designers or as creative souls, that we have all our different styles, and Jason is really providing the base, and we are free to really do whatever we want and develop our own techniques.
So it's unbelievable. It's like a springboard. You've taken you've taken the foundations and you've exploited them, and you've just really created some absolutely marvelous imagery here. This is layout. So basically, tell us a little bit about layout. We use Photoshop in conjunction with SketchUp for layout, right? So that gives us the ability to mix our media together. But tell us about layout, and also tell us about the white of the page.
So yeah, the layout is a very powerful tool when I show the work to my clients, because they can see, like in this case, they can see some imagery of their furniture, and they have two different views, for example. And because of, so as you say, the white background, the way I create my images, I like colors. So it's very prominent, and it's just looking really stunning. And the feedback I get from my clients really is that they get drawn into the drawings, which I have never experienced with photorealistic renderings. The same, the same engagement really from my client's side.
Yes, there's like a distilling of the image. When you're using sketch-like imagery, it looks hand-drawn. And because, in a way, it's easier for the mind to absorb, then the client also feels that, So we worry so often about what we doing as architects and designers. If you're an interior designer, we worry about our process. But it's also super important to worry about the client. The client needs something that he can relate to quickly. Let's take a look at some more imagery. This is absolutely mind-blowing. Tell us more about the line work here. We've got hatchwork. How did you create this almost pencil-like hatchwork in the shadow areas here?
Yeah, that's all happening in Photoshop. So the lines are obviously coming from SketchUp. And there you also have multiple choices. You're really free to choose your own lines. Then you go into Photoshop and you have different techniques where you can create this hand-drawn effect of sketching really your shadows. And in this case, I just use two techniques, for example, in this image, and it creates this amazing effect of, virtually hand-drawn, really.
It's unbelievable, because when I look at this, I don't know, you're welcome to comment in the chat, but when I look at it, it reminds me of a combination between Copic marker, fine liner, a watercolor. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's not a rendered image done in Max or in Lumion, or it's just really cool. And the line work, the dovetailing here, it's just so symbolic of like using a rotring pen, and you've even got like textures. It looks like you've spilled your watercolors on the page. And it's just those things that bring this warmth. There's just so much warmth to this image. It reminds me of home, and sometimes when you look at some of these renderings, they look like sterile clinics. And so the whole idea is you want to create this warmth, this hearth of image to show your client, and there is a way to do it really, really interestingly well. Let's take a look at some more imagery. I know this is your new French Côte d'Azur, France image. Just mind-blowing. Let's take a look at this. We'll take a look at a few different images. Take a look at this quality, and we're going to come back to this image just now. Let's go take a look at a few. Different angle of that particular room. This is absolutely, just from my point of view, I'm just absolutely like seduced by this drawing. I don't know if you're not seduced by this drawing, then absolutely don't comment. And if you are, you can comment in the chat. But take a look at this. There's a steel vase here, a bottle of wine. There's some bags or shopping bags there on the couch. Some flowers. And tell us more about this, Brigita. Tell us more about the entourage. What is entourage for you? I'm so excited about when I look at it. I feel the energy, when I look at these images. There's something in alignment here which is really powerful. And as a designer, it really takes me into a different space, So tell us more about entourage. Tell us more about like how you work with it. So tasteful, the way you do it. It's just really positioned properly. The choice of object, like for instance here, this Louis Vuitton bag and these boxes, and this cupboard is full of shirts. And I mean, tell us more about that and your entourage system.
Yes. So firstly, the entourage, it is half of the success of my work, really, because I get the feedback from my clients, which sets me apart from others, which was also the case when I did photorealistic. For me, it's always important. The room has to look like you want to live in it. And that's my personal approach, but the feedback really reflects it, because you're telling a story. And so depending, of course, on which type of design you have, in this case, I'm telling this lush luxury Côte d'Azur story in this bedroom. And you can also tell, a very modern story. And then you just use and place your entourage differently. But the whole thing for me, really important thing, is that I look at the picture and I always really literally take a step back, and I'm thinking, I would like to go to sleep there? Would I like to be in this room? It has to be this touch of, yes, I want to live in it. That's one part. And the second part, of course, is that I use libraries for my entourage. So when you go to the practical parts, so that you also work efficiently. So I'm not sourcing each piece separately. I am just really having libraries, and I have libraries for bedrooms, for bathrooms, for kitchens, for whatever I do. So it's really quick.
And even for the garden outside, you've got a whole set of entourage, right?
Yes, I have preset settings for a garden. Like in this case, for example, I know I needed a sort of a terrace, and I don't have to go and put together the whole terrace and the table and the sun umbrella. I just have a set enough things.
So you're saying you have a whole library of just amazing furniture that you've chosen over the years, and then you just plug those objects into your SketchUp model.
Yes.
And then engage with the process that we use. And obviously we're not even using a sophisticated lighting source. We're using SketchUp lighting source here, which is not even ambient occlusion. It's not a V-Ray light source. It's not Lumion. It's not a D5 render. And that also takes a lot of stress out of our lives, not having to worry about that technology. We're kind of using the tools that the software gives us. Let's move on, guys. This is just absolutely mind-blowing work. And what I wanted to suggest, like when I take a look at this, Brigita, I'm so excited to potentially see this on a wall in a presentation, kind of pinned up on a wall. I want to see what this looks like printed out. And what we also need to tell everyone is that when you print this out on a tabloid size, or in your country, maybe using A3, similar sizes, imperial and decimal or whatever, the color and the line work look like wax, because the white of the paper permeates through these images just like a watercolor. So you start to use the white of the paper as a tool to get this sort of hazy, dreamy effect, and you've achieved that in this particular image. Just tell us more about that.
Yes, so when you print out the work, that's then another step up, really, compared to looking at it on the screen. Because when you really print it out, in my case A3, and I show it to my customers, they're really blown away. And they're sitting like small children sometimes in front of it and like, oh, look at this, there's a wine bottle. Oh, wow, look at this. And it is such a different way of engaging suddenly with the client, because we go away from...
You're pulling them into the drawing with your narrative, your entourage, and with not only that, with the textures and the colors. And so what's very subtle here in this particular image is the textures. Like we can say that you're hinting at textures, you're just hinting at them. So it's like kind of takes that stress off your shoulder as well. If you're a visualization artist, you have to focus on textures all the time. And this gives you a lot of play with, a lot of let's call it mind space for the client to still imagine what could possibly happen. Maybe that blue area is velvet. Maybe that blue area behind the bed's glass. It still leaves that room to think, right? Am I right?
Perfect. It's perfect. And as you say, Jason, because I can tell from experience the difference when I have the photorealistic rendering. You're wasting time on talking about, is this the right green? Is this the wrong green? Should I do X, Y, Z? It doesn't happen with these drawings because you are so in the concept phase, really, that it's more about, do I like the whole concept of your design, really? And you go to the colors on a later stage, really. But the engagement is on this really personal level, and that's really what I love about it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. No, it's absolutely wonderful. Let's just take a look at some more. There's a whole bunch of layouts here. So really, we'll just talk about that quickly. Layout and using Photoshop for layout is super quick. You take these JPEGs or PNGs, if you render it as a PNG, and after you've done the post-production, we use a lot of airbrushing, by the way. We use a lot of techniques, stacking effects, layering, and there's a technique that gets used to do this. But once you finish the technique, you can super easily lay it out on an A3 or a tabloid size and prepare it for a meeting. And you could even start this the day of your meeting without that level of stress if you get good at it. This is not a method which, in the first week you're going to jump into and become an expert. You need to practice. And it's a lie in the world that there's these instant sort of, okay, AI can do stuff that's pretty okay. It's not amazing, and it can do it instantly, and it looks pretty okay. But to do sophisticated imagery like this is on a different level. If you are a veteran architect, it's like a fine wine. This type of imagery is on a completely different level. It's just absolute gold. So here we are in a model of a hotel lounge, and this was created for an interior tutorial with my students. And what we are experimenting with today is to take a look at how easy, number one, it is to find views in SketchUp. So you can pan around really easily using your mouse. You can zoom in and out, and you can simply just rotate the middle of your mouse in and out to zoom. So you don't have to use any keys on the keyboard. Really amazing. And so once you do find a view in SketchUp, so let's say maybe that's the view that you're after, then you can go and update a scene, which is really super powerful, and it will record your camera angle as well as your lens. Another beautiful thing about SketchUp is that you can adjust your field of view over here, which means that if you do find a view that you want to foreshorten, you can go in using the field of view command, and you can distort the view. You can open the aperture of the camera, and you can really get in there to find the most sophisticated views possible, which is super, super powerful. Now, normally when you do find a view, it will really create vertical lines that start to implode in or slant. So what SketchUp have done, and it's actually been part of SketchUp for a long time, is you can go and click on 2-point perspective, and immediately what it will do, it will change the vertical lines in your drawing and turn them into perpendicular lines that will basically be perpendicular to the top of your page. So it's just a super powerful viewing platform, gives you the ability to look around and find the most ideal views. And in our process, we're looking for masterful views that we can show our clients and really give them an exciting view that's rendered like a sketch. And that gets done in post-production in Photoshop. But let's just talk about line work. Line work is super important because what we could do is, if you take a look at this line work in SketchUp, also what we could offer is we can extend lines. So we could say, okay, we want to extend these lines by 66. And what that means is that lines extend beyond their physical termination, and it gives you that dovetail effect that a rotring pen may give you. You can also switch on endpoints, and that's also very cool. So you can get all these amazing line types and styles going, and you could also change the color of your line work. If you really wanted a green line, you could offer your client a green line, and that would be amazing. The next best thing about these particular drawings in SketchUp are the shadow tools. Now, so you can make your shadows dark and lighter, and then you could also adjust the time of day. This is an interior shot, so you can synthesize light. There are ways of doing it in SketchUp in interiors, and really can move the light source back and forth and get some really, really amazing, seductive shadows, which you can use in your post-production process. So that's really cool. And last but not least, I just wanted to show you once again the line type styles. In SketchUp, there are a whole lot of preset styles. They really give the architect or designer the ability to play with different look and feels. And here you go. So this is a sketchy type of style. It's called sketchy edges. This is a marker. It's called marker broken line. Different types of styles which you can start to use in your particular process, and just really cool. Also, you can change the color of those styles as well. If you want, let's say, a purple line, you could get a purple line out of your process. So SketchUp, all in all, very, very intuitive, very practical in its approach, and just really a pleasure to work with. And now we're going to hear from Brigita a little bit more about the power of community and how the power of community can help you leverage your ability as a designer. Just like a sport, right? You need to practice a sport. You can't just go to the golf course if you're a golfer, or maybe you're a swimmer or whatever, and learn how to do whatever you need to do in that sport in a week. So we're not here offering an instant sort of process that's going to happen in the first 3 days. You need to practice this, and you need to practice it with a community. And we were talking about this earlier, Brigita and I were talking about community. Give us a little bit of, I guess, insights into how you feel about community, Brigita, and this process.
Yes, so when I joined the course, my main reason was, of course, I wanted to learn the technique. And I have to say now, being on the weekly calls and the exchange with all the other people, everybody is nice and you meet new people, but we are learning so much from each other when we have our critique sessions once a week. And I'm not the only one on the course which has, improved massively just because of these courses. Because if you take the course and you do it at home on your own, I'm sure you learn enough to get by. But my advancement, really, I would contribute, talk about the work, and everybody is giving you advice or whatever they think about it. And of course, you, Jason. And this is a huge part of my success in my work. Yes.
Okay. Right. I'm just going to open up some student work just to quickly show you some exteriors. And then straight after that, we're going to open up for questions. This is a student in our group. He's busy doing exterior renders. He is an architect in Toronto. His name's Juan. These are recent from a few weeks ago. Just really amazing stuff that you can accomplish with detail using SketchUp and Photoshop. The exact same method that Brigita has shown us tonight, but exteriors. This is Angie. She is in Ireland. I don't know if she's online with us tonight, but just really beautiful imagery. She's got her style. It's very clean and beautiful and really creating powerful stuff. I'm going to show you some interiors that she's busy doing. Some beautiful plans, urban design. You can use it for urban design, and you can really create really magnificent stuff using SketchUp and Photoshop in a very specific way. This is actually one of Brigita's exteriors. Very beautiful, a lot of line work, very exciting, beautiful project. And let's just take a look. Another one of Brigita's exteriors. And then here's one of Angie's render. Now, I just wanted to tell you about Angie. Angie started off using AutoCAD. She didn't know how to do any 3D modeling, and she didn't know how to do anything render-wise with SketchUp. And this is what she's producing. And this was probably, I guess, August last year. She's doing world-class renders, and this is not AI. This is done by hand on the computer, if you want to call it that, a fusion between the PC tools and the hand renders. And you can get different effects. This is Ian. He's fantastic. This is one of Brigita's external renders, 20 to 30 minutes, all this type of detail, really magnificent. Obviously for the render, this is more of a classical structure she did, got some more French in nature, very beautiful. And then obviously, let's just take a look at one of Brigita's external renders, some of Brigita's work as well for external stuff. You can get this type of fusion of image, just absolutely magnificent. Really, it's mind-blowing. Take a look at the reflection. That's a little bit of Photoshop mixed in with SketchUp, mixed in with a little bit of AR. This is Angie from Ireland. First time she's ever modeled anything in her life. She modeled this. This is her design, and she modeled this in SketchUp. We also teach SketchUp in our training, and she put this all together. It looks absolutely magnificent. It looks like a watercolor, and a little bit different style to Brigita style, but absolutely superb. I mean, take a look at the bottles of on the shelves here, and just the level of detail. So you can bring anything to life. Funnily enough, Angie used to do stuff by hand, and there you go, another angle. I have revealed to your workflow in this training that has taken me many years to refine. I've condensed this information into one small masterclass. I've given you the overall picture, but it has been impossible for me to explain every nuance. I may have overloaded you, but now that you have the overall big picture, I want to hold your hand and take you through the process, one small step at a time. Just like Vincent van Gogh said, if you hear a voice within you say, you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Now you have a choice to make. You can either go it alone, staying isolated and stagnant in your current process, or you could waste valuable time trying to piece resources together. Alternatively, we would love to help you evaluate your current design and presentation process in a complimentary free transformation session of 45 minutes. After we take a deep look at your present skill set and workflow, we would like to help you put an action plan in place so that you can leverage your existing presentation skills. I have limited spots available this month, so please, if you feel that you're not going to make it, leave the space for someone else to attend. To get started, visit our website or simply click the link below to access a brief questionnaire that will help us tailor our meeting to your unique needs. Once complete, you'll be forwarded to my calendar page where you can choose a suitable time and date that aligns with your schedule. After scheduling your session, you'll receive a complimentary PDF jam-packed with training testimonials and student gallery. The decision to transform is yours. Go ahead and book your free complimentary time now. Let's hear what some of our students are saying about the technique and workflow.
You're doing all the modeling things and everything, and then you have oh my God, a few hours to show the client what you did, and you cannot show just 3D image from ArchiCAD. You can, but okay.
And just the process that you put us through, I thought was really awesome. What you're doing, helping everybody all over the world, was really something, And
using this hybrid method and pulling these two together. I mean, I've been looking at this for 25 years.
It's opened my eyes up. I've used SketchUp for quite some time and Photoshop, but he opens up the possibilities beyond what you may know, softening the renderings, communicating better. I found it just amazing. I mean, it really blew me away, learning some fairly accessible techniques, putting them together in a strategic way, and coming up with imagery that I think really helps sell the ideas. The Artful writer technique gives me a whole new set of tools to approach that part of the process and really describe and sell the idea to the client. I managed to get somewhere I'm really happy with and producing work that I never thought I'd be able to do, to be honest with you. We're using the programs as tools rather than being frightened of the software. And I'm really, really happy with what I've
what I've been able to do, but also I'm glad I came on board in the first place.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It's just been fantastic, and like the technique is really cool. But I can see great things coming of this.
This was exactly what I needed to learn. But they say that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. You taught me how not just to control the computer, but to actually, you need to control the process. Great process.
Not only is this an artful render technique, this is a powerful business tool to win projects and stimulate fees.
It certainly pays off. A couple of weeks ago, I had that meeting with what came out right after was, wow. And that was pretty much the decision making. He was approved unanimously in work, and we're winning some business as we speak by just doing this process.
I have revealed to your workflow in this training that has taken me many years to refine. I've condensed this information into one small masterclass. I've given you the overall picture, but it has been impossible for me to explain every nuance. I may have overloaded you, but now that you have the overall big picture, I want to hold your hand and take you through the process, one small step at a time. Just like Vincent van Gogh said, if you hear a voice within you say, you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Now you have a choice to make. You can either go it alone, staying isolated and stagnant in your current process, or you could waste valuable time trying to piece resources together. Alternatively, we would love to help you evaluate your current design and presentation process in a complimentary free transformation session of 45 minutes. After we take a deep look at your present skill set and workflow, we would like to help you put an action plan in place so that you can leverage your existing presentation skills. I have limited spots available this month, so please, if you feel that you're not going to make it, leave a space for someone else to attend. To get started, visit our website or simply click the link below to access a brief questionnaire that will help us tailor our meeting to your unique needs. Once complete, you'll be forwarded to my calendar page where you can choose a suitable time and date that aligns with your schedule. After scheduling your session, you'll receive a complimentary PDF jam-packed with training testimonials and student gallery. The decision to transform is yours. Go ahead and book your free complimentary time now.